Divine Essence. The flow of divine essence is presumably understood more as a spiritual phenomenon than that of an ethereal presence being physically manifested in our day-to-day living. But if we were to journey through the womb of creation, or for some, the dark hole of evolution, discovering the infinite intelligence of matter, contained with unlimited possibilities and pregnant with palpable potentiality, we would arrive at none other than the woman. She is the accentuated complexity, celestial beauty, unfathomable mystery, and heavenly wonder of the source in all of life. And she carries within her every attribute of the universe itself. But she is not just the universe. She is the womb of the universe that births everything into existence. She is more than mere creation, but is co-creator of all that was, all that is, and all that shall ever be. She is the vicegerent of Source on planet Earth and inherently worthy of our heavenly praise. I was taught long ago that there's just no such thing as a no good woman, that every no good woman was made no good by a no good goddamned man. For centuries on end, women have had to endure insurmountable pain and suffering, seemingly unending abuse and misuse at the hands of gender-privileged men. The lineal descent of domination, control, misogyny, sexual exploitation, and imperious impeding of them. Even up to this very day, women are victimized under continuous assault, threat, and duress. Throughout the annals of history, in every corner of the world, we will find that the measure of civilization is predicated on and through women. The very fabric of our existence is sustained by her glorious presence. She gives life to everything gathered and placed within her, and it is multiplied for our plentiful use and survival. It is divinely purposed that the nature of all things is aptly named after her as Mother Nature, because no civilization can exist or sustain itself without her, and she is the very habitat of humanity. So we must now ask ourselves a serious life-sustaining question. Why is it that we are the only species on Earth that destroys its own habitat? You see, at her core, she is free, creative, radiant, and even in her vulnerability, she's omnipotent, having influence and the most profound effect on all time, space, and matter. Not only does she do things well, she can do multiple things well, and she never misses a beat. And there is no wonder why the world's civilizations have their greatness. For she is the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, mother of civilization, and the goddess of the universe. Now, as for men, we are by nature the anchor of civilization. We are the hunters and warriors, providers and protectors of the very sustainable things in life that she gives back to us. She is the X to the uncompleted Y in our chromosomes that acquaints us with divine essence and brings possibility to probability to an ultimate eventuality. Men, we may become whole, but without her, we'll always be incomplete. Because if we are truly aware and honest with ourselves, we would know where lies our own strength. And we'd recognize her as the most powerful and desirable thing in the world. We would place her back on her throne, move mountains, heaven and earth, slay dragons, and if necessary, eat rattlesnakes to protect, preserve, and provide for her. But where we've lost our way is in labeling her as a bitch, treating her as such, and manipulating her into accepting that as some term of endearment and a description of her values and worth. Well, if she's a bitch and we come from her, then what does that make us? I dare say a son of a bitch. You see, we've conditioned the mother of our civilization to replace the beauty of her virtue and the intimacy for glorious pleasure and procreation with accepting, even desiring degenerative pain, punishment, mistaking submission for satisfaction, and welcoming violence that simulates abuse in the name of heightened pleasure. Not even in sex is she afforded the freedom to hold worth and the highest moral vision she can have for herself. So when we bully and control women in such a way, it is evident that our purpose to protect and provide is compromised by a self-imposed threat of them. Their instinctive and intuitive creativity, their diffused power, and their rightful place in the civilizations that they birthed for us. So we don't offer women equal opportunity as a CEO, an empowered leader of society, take them on as serious business owners, nor do we give them a real platform of expression in the various fields of endeavor. When men are not busy exploiting and abusing women, we neutralize them seemingly everywhere else, which forces them out of fear to make a name, protect, and provide for themselves. Part of that protection and provision comes by way of taking on the psychological, emotional, and energetic masculinity of men. She goes masculine to protect herself from any kind of danger, real or imagined. Because every time she walks outside of her door, and oftentimes behind closed doors, she's under some kind of threat. And fear is interwoven into her biology. It is the baseline experience of her life. Now, it is said that self-preservation is the first law of nature. So who the hell could blame her? The fact is, she is the quintessential expression of a penultimate paradigm of God. And by nature, she is a nurturer, a cultivator, and an equitable gatherer. Her way is that of the moon, representing balance and equality. So havoc-making, wretchedness, and selfishness is the antithesis of her existence. Therefore, it is critical we all come to bear and understand that the only way a woman maliciously harms, abuses, becomes overly aggressive, emasculates, or even succumb to gold digging is that she stepped outside of her natural prominence of power and her divine feminine prowess. But the downside in such a disenchanting trade-off is a sacrifice of her natural essence. Her innocence, radiance, and the promise she once offered is lost. Her virtue is compromised by a miscellany of inauthentic traits which she no longer has access to the truth of herself. And any abhorrent behavior found in her, it stems from the lack of not knowing who she truly is. Equally, men, our mistreatment of her is in not knowing who she truly is. Now, every woman that hurt me, each of them, I believe, meant well. Some may have even loved me, but they were severely wounded by some no-good man before me. Whether it was an ex, a brother, a father, a family member, a boss, a so-called friend, or even some spiritual or inspirational leader, they were harmed by the reprehensible behavior of my very own gender. But why must I endure suffering as a result of some other man's misplaced pleasure? Is it my responsibility? Is it every man's responsibility? Or has she succumbed to the perversive condition so much so that she's lost all care? Many women find being numb or outright dismissive to wield some kind of enjoyment out of it. She's gotten so used to the mistreatment that having a bad boy is not only a turn-on, but an outright preference. A lust for less, so to speak. Collectively, men, we've been so toxic that some women believe they can do no better. Or worse, thinking that they're undeserving of better. It's the perfect elixir to conform to victimhood, where they can conveniently and easily confuse a genuine man's kindness and generosity with weakness or hidden agendas, as if being nice, sweet, and kind is some kind of poison, punishment, or prerequisite of pain. They have been so adversely influenced by traumatic experiences that being slaughtered and taken advantage of is all they know. So the anticipation of heartbreak becomes an addictive cocktail, a biochemical craving for disappointment. That old hurt so good anticlimax. And after centuries of egregious acts against her and having to deal with so much counterfeiting men, some women can hardly tell the real thing when it comes along. So she'll sometimes attack before being attacked and then feel justified in doing so. But in the deep emotional and psychological painstaking lineage of her cohabiting DNA, at first hint, anything that resembles a past hurt will instinctively trigger a threat. The need for security kicks in, and out of fear, she uses any measure of defense, including her sexuality, as a means to protect herself from perceived danger or an assumed attack. But when she takes on these aggressive and toxic parts of masculinity, compromising her very own core, it directly reflects the behavior of a less consciously developed man who creates a world that rapes and pillages the innocent for personal gain. He builds a society reared in greed, competition, overachievement, survival of the fittest. And then he locks her out of it. The innocence, radiance, and promise once offered is quickly diminished or even lost. And the well-intentioned men of good honor are having to pay the debt created by the abhorring acts of some previous unconscious men of irresponsible masculinity. Now, contrary to popular belief, masculinity is not a birthright. And being born male doesn't automatically make him a king. A true king doesn't take action on every attraction. In fact, a cheating, visionless man of low capacity and perpetual insecurity is far less masculine than he thinks. Because all the testosterone, muscle, side pieces, and money in the world doesn't make him a masculine man. There has to be something, brothers, at some point, something that she has that's exclusive and sacred. Some part of us men that she's not having to share with the rest of the world. You see, there's a natural reason why she can stay open longer than you can stay up. And the penalty for man's overindulgence and importance of maddening promiscuity can very well turn him into an underused impotence of saddening obscurity. Perhaps on an even more drastic penalty to ourselves, both masculine and feminine, and the whole world of civilization, is that then when there is a consistent practice in anything against its nature, it will counter and redevelop in the opposite of its evolutionary intent. So you see, it's just not nice to fool with Mother Nature. So men, yes, it is our responsibility. It is all of our responsibility. To be a king is not easy. And God knows she is not easy. It's going to take some serious testicular fortitude. But when we identify and remove the obstacles that restrict the flow of divine essence in our world, helping to restore each of these women back to their original and pure state of being, which is love, then it will be our crowning achievement. Then, and only then, will we not have to die to go to heaven. We'll find it continuously and permanently in her. And she will forever be our kingdom come.